Oh, I just love the look of glistening green grass. You know the green I'm talking about. Moist with sprinkler water, reflecting the radiance of the sun. In that regard, Louisiana's grass is in a class of its own. Just
Okay.
picture on a clear summer day, a cold beer in one hand, gazing out from your porch onto the garden you're so proud of. This is the life. Doesn't get much better than this. That's how you feel. A well-kept garden and a cold beer, the ultimate combination. They go hand in hand, just like hot dogs and sporting events.
Old beer and grass?
That grass, it's got a bit of a nerve to it. It doesn't matter how many times you cut it down. It'll always keep coming back and turn your eyes away for a bit. And that's when it'll really sprout up. Up until last week, your garden was
Man.
perfectly pruned and balanced.
This guy loves going on about grass and gardens.
Wake up the next morning, and you can't even stand to look at what it's become. That's why people work so hard to cut their grass. Like it's some ordeal they've been tasked with by the big man in the sky. Oh. And it never ends. Understand me, Zach? If you want to stop cutting your grass, well, you need to either submit to its growth or force it to wither. That's all humans can really do. Hard work never really gets you anywhere in the big picture. Nothing but wasted efforts. You following me here? Now just be honest with yourself. Be honest, Francis Zach Morgan.
Kaysen.
Oh, howdy, Zach. So we meet again. Such a touching reunion. Like a little boy who was given up for adoption, finally reuniting with his true parents. Look, even little Willie here is beside himself with joy.
Willie.
Kaysen!
Such a good boy, but so evil.
Oh, dear.
Damn it! I'm gonna kill you!
Man, things are getting weird. Oh shit. He's strangling Aaliyah and thinks it's Kaysen.
Hey, let her go! What the hell's gotten into you?
So he's like hallucinating. God, he looks like gray. Like a zombie. Also, two worst FBI agents ever.
Jeez.
This guy's like on death's doorstep. He's drugged up. And it took all that just to stop him.
That should do it. Well, no turning back now. How should we clean this up?
I'm searching the room.
"2019, Thompsonville, Massachusetts."
This room is pure
okay.
insanity. But I can't let it shake me. Why did you come here, Aaliyah? Remember the real reason you decided to investigate Morgan's house in the first place.
Care to share with the rest of the class?
We came here to find
Oh,
a
you
missing
thought.
girl.
Oh, okay. You thought he had Patricia.
Patricia Clarkson isn't here, and he's done nothing except narrowly skirt the thin line of legality in all the right ways. He's so abnormal. How can there not be a single shred of evidence against him?
Maybe because he didn't do it.
Come on, Agent Jones. I know you're hiding something.
What are you talking about?
You've been watching him for 4.5 years, haven't you?
Apparently not very well.
Can you really stand here and tell me that you never saw a single one of the strange signs I'm picking up on now?
Or even glanced inside this room.
What signs?
Oh, hey, the stupid bongos that pastor made us are sitting on that box there for the Lord Hunger's quest.
Deadly premonitions.
Roll credits.
Preparations for kidnapping or terrorist activities. Sexual depravity, violent tendencies, self-mutilation. Or even just contacting a specific person periodically.
Nope, nada. He doesn't fit any of that. You think I'd really ignore something that obvious?
Absolutely.
I may be a schlub, but I'm still an FBI agent.
Then why didn't you do anything about this room?
Yeah, it's a pretty big red flag.
Or did you merely choose to ignore his abnormal proclivities?
You want to know what I did? I did my damn job. End of story. I was outside the entire time. How do you expect me to notice a room like this from out there?
We already established that you have cameras inside of his apartment.
It's as simple as that. At least it was, until you dragged me into this whole mess.
So you made me start doing my job, and then everything started going wrong.
Don't blame me just because your big investigation ended up leading nowhere.
Then tell me the truth. After seeing this room, can you really say that man is in his right mind? He kept this room a total secret from you for over 4.5 years. No normal human is capable of such a feat. Only a true genius or a true monster. Can you really guarantee that he won't try anything if we just let him go here?
Well,
Then you need to help me. Find some sort of evidence that we can use to make him reveal what he's plotting.
okay.
Daniel Clarkson. The file said his only real talent was his ability to pick up women.
I'm sorry? That man? We're talking about the same
But
Daniel
when I
Daniel
spoke with
Clarkson,
him in the
right?
warehouse, he seemed dignified, like a truly accomplished man.
Well, now I know we're not talking about the same Daniel Clarkson.
Marrying into the Clarkson family must have put him through a lot.
So he must have changed quite a bit.
Why do you think Jethro here survived?
It's a very good question.
Why?
I mean, doesn't he look like the kind of guy who'd die first in a horror movie?
Yeah, he's like the guy that pretends to be a badass. And then when things go south, he like runs away and trips over a rock and dies.
He married into the Clarkson family. He didn't possess Clarkson blood, so he had nothing to do with Helena Doman's plan.
The blood purge thing? But if that was all there was to it, then Helena Doman wouldn't have killed anyone but Clarksons, right? Yet a ton of the Clarkson gang members died, along with Sheriff Woods. Doesn't add up.
She did whatever it took to achieve her goals. She'd kill if the plan required it. But killing people outside of the Clarkson family was never a priority.
And Melvin was... I don't think she planned to kill Melvin, did she? It just kind of happened.
Her ultimate goal was to cut off the Clarkson bloodline. Maybe he was always meant to be an assistant to the goddess of fertility.
What, like a servant?
He was the kind of person who was most in his element when he had someone to serve. Even afterwards, he let Patricia take over the estate, while he became her assistant.
Huh, no shit.
As soon as he settled into his role, the townspeople started to respect him. Now they practically revere him, and he's even earned himself a nickname, One-Armed Danny.
Well, that's probably more because of the one-arm thing, not the dignified thing.
So you think his life played out exactly the way Professor R planned it to go? Talk about tragic.
Maybe not exactly.
Photograph of Patricia Clarkson. I thought she was imprisoned right here in this room, but there was no one here. Where could she be then? I was so positive. But she isn't here. There is something about this room, though. Agent Jones, what do you think?
Me? I'm not as smart as you. Why are you even asking me?
Are you hiding something?
Of course not. Knock it off. Me? Hiding something? Ha! That's a good one. Come on. I got nothing to hide.
You're so bad at this. I'm not hiding anything.
Thought he would find answers
Where?
in this room.
Me?
I thought that Patricia would be here, but I was wrong. This room is only filled with photos of people related to the case and the handiwork of a madman.
I mean, does it look like this room is set up because he's planning a kidnapper, or because he's still investigating
Feels like I'm wandering through a heavy
a
mist.
case, perhaps?
Why is Morgan showcasing those women's photos?
Clearly still investigating.
Bed.
The bed's a little weird, though.
After she lost her family in the Le Carré incident, she went to go live at the Clarkson estate. And once she grew up, she assumed control of their empire seemingly without any hesitation. She must be strong. How did she eventually come to accept her cursed blood and the fate it placed on her shoulders?
Probably because she didn't have a choice.
The one who took her in after the incident was Daniel Clarkson, the next in line to succeed the Clarkson family. He's the one that ended up raising her from that point onwards.
Oh, that's scary.
Isn't fate strange? In the end, two people who were completely unrelated by blood ended up inheriting that house.
Yeah, you're right. But sometimes I wonder, what is family anyway? Go back far enough, we're all strangers to one another. We're talking countless generations, marriages and birth, you know.
Humans love to deify the rules they create. It's almost like that's been an unwritten law from the very start. Sheriff Melvin Woods. I never met him myself, but his face makes him look like a very nice guy.
Yeah, except he's batshit
His
insane.
background and childhood didn't have any red flags either. Yet we're supposed to believe that he was one of the masterminds behind that entire incident?
Well, I think she called him the Fool King for a reason, right?
If you loved someone from the bottom of your heart, would you ever be able to marry someone else? Or kill for them?
Whoa, what are we talking about?
I never heard of any kind of motive like that in any other murder case. I just keep feeling like we're being fed a story that he made up in his mind.
True. Honestly, without having experienced what that's like, I can't really say what I'd do. But I'd never try and force love to happen, if it didn't seem like it was meant to be. There are 3.5 billion women on this planet.
And I still can't find one.
There's got to be more than one specific person who anyone can fall deeply in love with,
Because
right?
because of pizza.
But what if we were talking about pizza?
Oh god.
Not women. You just discovered the perfect ultimate pizza. But you aren't allowed to take even a single bite. Unless you kill someone for the cook.
Well then how would you know it's the perfect pizza?
Have you
Can't-
ever loved someone
Can't have
with
a
all
little
your heart?
taste.
What kind of person do you take me for?
That's my line.
Is this supposed to be the altar from the site where Lise Clarkson's body was found? Why would he want to replicate that inside of his own home? There's no way this man is sane.
Boy.
Why did Lise have to die first?
That's a good question. the tree sprouting out of the... It's like, first game. Kaysen. Emily. And then, what the fuck?
What is this?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
This room paints such a bizarre picture. But upon closer look, I can see some strange sort of pattern to it all. Was Morgan trying to recreate something with all this? If so, there must be a reason for all of these weird and hideous things. I've seen the bedrooms of countless violent criminals, but this one is on a completely different level.
I love that bear head.
It's beyond insane.
What's that?
A hunting trophy. A brown bear with a dragonfly eye patch.
Why is it smoking a cigar?
It's probably supposed to represent Philip J. Clarkson's body.
And the elk is...
Helena Doman.
So that's why it's got such good taste in fashion.
Yep.
And this one is Galena Clarkson?
Mm-hmm. And then Lisa's in the middle.
Why did he want to line up corpses that were killed in different places, all together in a single room? Red
The red seeds. All comes back to the red tree.
When Helena Doman attacked the estate, he just happened to be somewhere else. Whether it was through luck or simple coincidence, that's how he managed to survive. When Helena Doman returned home, someone must have let her inside.
You think that was her brother-in-law, Daniel?
I don't know.
Well, alligators did chomp his arm off. He probably had it in for old man PJ, too.
No, he was weirdly obsessed with the old man.
You know, I don't think he had anything to do with this.
Yeah, he's too dumb.
Why not?
You're making it out to be more complicated than it really is. That's always the problem with people like you. Too smart for your own good.
Oh.
Just get to the point.
Professor R marched straight through the front door to the mansion.
Okay.
She arrived right at her destination using the quickest route possible, without having to undergo a single security check.
Uh-huh.
I know. My question is, how was she able to do that?
Because she's PJ's daughter, so
Because she's family.
yeah, they just let her in.
It doesn't matter if PJ disowned her. He never stopped loving his son. A father would never abandon his child, no matter how much they fail to fulfill his expectations. That's what being a parent is all about.
For most people.
Don't look at me like that. I know, I don't have a son myself, but I have a father. He's still back in my hometown, managing the printing plant my grandfather started. He'll be turning 80 soon. He wanted me to take over the place, but as you can see, I'm out here. But I know how this whole thing works. Even though I haven't seen him in forever, the minute I go home, he'll welcome me with warm, open arms.
Rope tied around a lighting fixture.
That's weird. A red bulb with red
What
rope.
could it mean?
You sure it's okay to press that?
Won't know until we try.
Hey, it's Woodstock. Look, a peace sign.
Oh.
Love and peace, man.
That was the symbol on, oh, God, what was his name from the first game? George? That was the symbol he had on his back.
Even I can figure out what this is from. It's Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Grateful Dead, and Led Zeppelin. But I shouldn't have to explain it to a music nut like you, right?
That isn't a peace mark. It's upside down. You don't need to be a music nut to see that.
Who says that's the top part? If you're looking from Lisa's head, this is the top part, making it a big, fat peace mark.
No, this is the ground.
Where's your proof?
The red
The
seeds.
seeds.
Seeds go in the ground, right?
Well, that's pretty flimsy.
That makes this wall the bottom. Lisa's head is clearly at the top. Period. Also, Agent Jones. Led Zeppelin never played at Woodstock. He's representing a human with a hunting trophy made from an animal. I feel like I'm looking at a piece of modern art done in really bad taste. He was going back over the Le Carré case together with the Greenville case. Just as I thought, these two cases are connected, but in a different way from what I originally thought. Anna Graham, the first victim of the Greenville case. Her body was found hanging from a tree, like a goddess being worshipped in a sanctuary. Meanwhile, Lise Clarkson was found on the bank of a river in an area that had been fashioned into an altar.
Mm-hmm.
The person who gruesomely ended the life of that young woman must be brought to justice.
That was Galena, though. Galena killed her.
I completely agree. They both still had their whole lives ahead of them.
The Le Carré case and the Greenville case. According to my investigation, the one key that links both cases is Francis Zach Morgan.
I mean, or he was investigating what linked the two cases. And it's the red
But
seeds
if we look at the cases from his point of view,
and the red trees.
we see one more connection. The red seeds are also present in both cases. I believed that he was the one who brought them to both towns. But maybe Never mind.
Man, it wants you to keep looking
He
at this
took in the
photo of
daughter
Daniel,
the
huh?
man who murdered his beloved wife and daughter. That's quite the feat.
Sure seems like our friend Daniel here was just destined to suffer. He crossed the entire continent and married into the Clarkson family, all for the sake of the woman he loved. But then the love of his life became a drug addict and ended up murdering their very own daughter.
Well, when you
She
put it
too
that
was
way.
murdered as part of her big brother's conspiracy. Finally, in order to prove that he could take responsibility for the family, he gave up his right arm to his father-in-law, who got blown to bits soon afterwards. And to add insult to injury, all the inheritance went to PJ's secret heir. If I had to go through all that, I'm pretty sure I'd go crazy.
Yeah, but he stepped aside and let her take over, so...
I don't know.
What do you mean?
He found someone he loved so much, he moved across the entire continent just to be with her. That's beautiful. It also seems that he was eventually able to make an identity for himself and Luke Carre as well. After I found his daughter's body, I interrogated him for a bit. When I told him we were going to do an autopsy on her body, he didn't react violently in any way. I remember him looking relieved and tired, kind of like someone who'd just woken up from a coma. According to Morgan's story, she was the mastermind behind everything. The whole purpose of her plan was to protect her declining clan from their imminent downfall. She had to kill all her family members in order to purify the bloodline,
Little weird.
so that in the end only the goddess of fertility would be left behind. I don't buy it. This plan has so many holes in it, I don't know where to begin. Yes, Katrina may have carried all of the evidence away, but I still can't believe he was actually able to turn in this fairy tale as an official report. She planned a string of murders all in order to restore the Clarksons to their former glory, right?
Yeah, according to Morgan's story. Matches up with the files, too.
But the only proof of that is the confession she privately gave to Morgan just before she died. Galena Clarkson was also murdered immediately after she confessed. Don't you think it's all a little too convenient?
Well, story-wise, yeah.
And the sacrifices. None of the FBI's official records contain an example of an actual human sacrifice. Aside from the cases that Francis Zach Morgan handled, that is.
There are tons of examples of animal sacrifice, though. And remember the witch hunts back in the Middle Ages?
Meaning?
It happens.
Meaning, there are always exceptions to the rule. And Morgan alluded to the existence of some sort of journal, right? I think he said he read it in Professor R's lab. If we could find that, maybe this would all become easier to swallow.
The report didn't mention anything about a journal. And if it truly did exist, it surely would have been submitted as evidence. Unless he tried to cover it up on purpose. Or...
Unless the journal never existed in the first place.
Exactly. He was taught how to rule as a child, never confided in anyone, and married for purely political reasons. Then he prospered so much that he became powerful enough to rule an entire town on his own. But in the end, his own child betrayed him and ended his entire clan in a series of violent deaths. If that was your life, how would you look back on it?
Not favorably, I don't think.
Yeah. Beats me.
Yeah, my own kid murdered me.
I wasn't born into a rich family, nor was I ever taught how to rule. And for what it's worth, I've also never knocked up a young ex-actress. But I guess the one thing we can say is that any good life needs balance. Get too hung up on one thing and you lose sight of everything else. And if you betray someone, you'll get betrayed too. Someone thinks they can step all over people and then live out the rest of their life in peace. They're fooling themselves. We always get to see how those people end up in our line of work. In the end, they die horrible deaths. That is why pizza is the only thing I trust. Pizza never betrays you.
Huh.
This case took place in Lucare. Oppressive authority, cross purposes, madness, and love. But Katrina took the truth along with many innocent lives and buried it all at the bottom of the swamp. But there's one truth that can never be washed away. This all started with the death of a young girl. A woman so beautiful she felt like she could make it as an actress in Hollywood. And this is how she ended up. Sometimes it seems like God abandoned us humans a long time ago. I feel it more and more with each new case. Galena Clarkson went to California to become an actress. But things never took off for her, so she eventually returned home. Then she murdered her own daughter and ended up like this. Where did she go wrong?
Around the murdering the daughter part, I think.
She did manage to appear in a few movies, right?
Also getting hooked on drugs probably didn't help.
Not as any characters with actual names, and never with much clothes on.
So that's the only value they saw in her, huh? Sorry.
What a
that
dick.
Was insensitive.
It's an everyday occurrence in that world. She was also bullied a lot.
What?
Bullied? How?
They'd cut up her costumes, her scripts, and even her own clothes.
Why?
Everywhere she went. Then after 3 years of that, her stylist chopped off a chunk of her hair.
Jesus.
By accident.
She bullied or was she, like, hated?
Are you kidding me?
I did a little investigating on this. In the end, a self-titled big cheese producer tricked her. She almost ended up going into porn.
Not hard to imagine what would have happened after that.
One witness said that after returning to Lucare, she refused to use scissors to cut anything. Why did she believe what Professor R told her? The whole blood purge story. There's no way anyone in their right mind would ever believe that.
She was hooked on San Rouge, though.
You got a point.
No matter how badly all the bullying must have broken her heart, I just find it too hard to believe. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't think too hard about it.
Why not?
They don't pay us to think.
Human beings don't make sense. We always do things that can't be explained with common logic. Especially when it concerns our parents, children, and siblings.
That doesn't satisfy me. No matter how irrational an action may be, I want to know exactly why that person made such an irrational decision. Otherwise, what hope do we have?
You're never going to be in a situation where everything makes perfect sense. Just stop sticking your nose so deeply into everything. That's my advice, as an old guy who's lived twice as long as you.
You and I are nothing alike. You decided to give up on your life and spend the rest of your time on Earth sitting around and playing Sudoku.
Yikes. That was a little harsh.
The 16-year-old girl who was murdered in Lucare in 2005. After that, she remained frozen for 14 years, waiting for someone to discover her. I was the one who found her, which means I have a duty to lay her soul to rest. Everyone thinks that the principal thing to the tree is the fruit. But in point of fact, the principal thing to it is the seed. Now I know why Lise Clarkson was murdered first. Lisa's death was Professor R having second thoughts. According to Morgan, her plan was to perform parricide and filicide, then commit suicide. Those were the 3 deaths necessary to complete the ritual, remember? Which means she technically could have killed Patricia first. That would have been the best way to delay any interference from the Clarksons themselves. The reason she didn't kill Patricia first is because Lena was actually following a different plan inside her own mind.
And because Patricia's her daughter, right?
Perhaps she merely changed her plan as she followed through with it. At some point, new emotions started to take root within her. She had second thoughts about something. And in order to shake those off, she used Galena to kill Lise first, in order to cut off any possible escape. But that only made her plan move ahead quicker than she could have ever imagined, which forced her to rush right up to the end with those misgivings always in the back of her mind.
Huh? Wait, hold on. Yeah, you lost me. What are you talking about?
In other words, at some point, Helena Doman decided that she wanted to make Patricia the next heir. The blood purge wasn't for the goddess of fertility. It was for their daughter, Patricia.
Oh?
Wait, are you saying
Then her plan worked out exactly how she wanted.
Helena knew from the start that Sheriff Woods would die with Candy?
That's the only explanation I can think of.
Huh.
Remember, this is only assuming that everything Morgan told us was true. Until I can trust that man, this is all nothing more than conjecture.
Considering how insane this all is, it sounds perfectly believable to me.
Oh god. Haven't seen him in a while. Ungan.
Francis Zach Morgan. Remember me?
No, completely forgot.
Oh, cat got your tongue. Understood. You know why I'm here, don't you? Surely you must know what
One
this
more
means.
oracle? From our
To
skeletal
commemorate
gentleman?
our reunion, allow me to give you another oracle. The contract, once signed, will last for eternity. But only in the presence of true love. Did you hear that? Good.
Well, the contract is
It's
obviously
been a while
the
since I felt this.
one we signed with
No, There's
Patricia.
hardly anyone in this era who can see me like you can. And they've been dropping like flies since you first came to see me. Breaks my heart. We don't have much time. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd like to start with, what the fuck? Like, what are you? Exactly?
Excellent. You pass. You haven't changed, Francis Zach Morgan. But that question isn't for me to answer. Go and see it with your own eyes. Oh, time's up. We'll have to finish this during our next reunion.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn my cell phone off. Oh, of course it's Simon.
Oh, this is bad.
Failed to apprehend target. Target escaped with hostage. Whereabouts unknown.
Agent Jones, what is this referring to?
Avery Smith kidnapped Patricia
What?
Clarkson and escaped.
Avery?
Avery Smith? The vault manager? Why would he kidnap Patricia? Tell me what's going on right now.
Well...
Answer me, Jones.
I made a deal with Morgan.
Swerve. And you didn't tell Aaliyah? Really?
Back when he took me to the bathroom.
It was a deal I'm not proud of, but...
What? What?
Morgan said something to me. If we want to find Patricia, we need to look at Avery Smith.
Have you lost your mind?
Well, he was right, obviously.
What he said made sense. Ever since 2005, Avery's been working deep inside that cold storage warehouse. He was also arrested in the past for getting too friendly with Lise Clarkson.
Ugh.
And after Katrina, he apparently worked on renovating the warehouse for free. What if that allowed him to freely modify the warehouse as he pleased?
Could have hid her body for 14 years.
That would explain why her body remained missing for 14 whole years. Then, I did a little check and found out that he never went back to work after Christmas vacation ended.
So what? Why would you trust him?
Man, it's like January something right now.
I don't.
A couple weeks.
I just decided it was worth investigating, that's all. So, I sent 2 agents to Avery's house without telling anyone. I just called in a favor from an old friend in the New Orleans branch.
No one gave you clearance for that. You think you can just...
But what if Morgan's telling the truth? If he is, we're both gonna look like total clowns.
Yeah.
Clowns who went barging into a former agent's house on completely unfounded suspicions. HQ will have a field day with us. They'll string us up as the 2 dumbest agents to have ever graced the field. I just wanted to take some precautions. And besides, if he is lying, it's still no skin off our backs. Right? If things work out, we'll end up solving a difficult case that's been driving everyone crazy. Imagine that. You and me, just the 2 of us, solving a case like this. I'll be able to jump ship on this crappy job. And you'll be able to freely investigate all things Saint Rouge, just like you've always wanted. Besides, you know that Morgan is Director Abraham's favorite. Even if we get into some sort of trouble, if Morgan testifies to Abraham's for us, we'll totally be in the clear.
I don't care. This isn't the way things are supposed to be done.
I mean, but he was right. Also, fairy flying around in the background.
Well, I'm sorry. But I had no other choice. You were so engrossed in this, and come on, you know how I am. Besides, saving the hostage should take priority above all else. There's no time for squabbling. We need to find Avery Smith no matter what it takes.
But how?
Well...
Thanks to your heroic maneuvers, we just lost our suspect.
I know, but...
I know how to find him.
Ooh.
I should be able to see the other world, the way I am now. Just let me go, please.
Morgan?
It's okay, my fairy. I know I can convince them. don't have much time left. I'm pretty sure that's why I can see the other world now. I'd lost that sense ever since the Greenvale incident, but it's back now. Please, will you just trust me? Come on, Simon. You'll trust me, won't you?
What?
No, Agent Jones. Remember the warning I gave you at the very beginning? You can't let him take control of the conversation.
Been doing a real bang-up job with that this entire time.
Yeah,
Both
I
of you.
know, I know.
Please, Aaliyah Davis, let me go. This is our case to finish.
No, you aren't an agent anymore.
But you don't know how to find him. Neither of you ever could.
Oh, I'll find him. I swear on my pride as an active agent that I won't give up until I do.
That won't get you anywhere. It's beyond you.
Shut up.
Oh.
You think we can't find him, but you can. Just how stupid do you think we are? If you want us to believe you, then it's about time you showed us some proof.
Hey, Belle. Your hypothesis was pretty much on the mark. Last week, I went back to Lucare. Then I bought a
Ooh.
used car and got on a train in Trenton. But not for the reason you think. I wasn't stalking Patricia. And I'd never try to kidnap her.
Then why would you go there? Why would you risk so much, especially since you knew that you were under surveillance?
Because, once again, I'm chasing Sang Rouge.
Sang Rouge?
Even after I quit
The drug, huh?
I continued to study the red trees on my own.
But I thought Lena was the one that made it, so...
And now, I've come to the conclusion that those red seeds and Sang Rouge both come from the same roots. I also found proof that someone's inherited the original recipe. That's why I flew to Lucare, to confirm my suspicions. But I was more powerless than I ever could have imagined. I couldn't move like I used to. No badge, no gun. So, after wandering aimlessly around town, I swallowed down my torment and my weakness and left.
You expect me to believe that?
I know you've got it in you.
What's that supposed to mean?
You found Lise Clarkson's body. The one thing I never did. And only a few days after discovering the body, you came to visit me. You should be fully capable of discerning that what I'm telling you is the truth.
Talking much about oneself can also be a means to conceal oneself. You can't trick me. You said that she was the mastermind behind the tragedies in Lucare. That her convictions about the Clarkson bloodline are what started it all.
Yes, that's right.
She instigated her younger sister into killing her own niece. Then she committed suicide immediately after killing her father, hoping that Sheriff Woods would be able to complete her plan. How could one call such an unpredictable series of events a plan? And as we saw, Sheriff Woods chose a fate that was completely different from what she envisioned.
No, he didn't. In the end, things went exactly as she planned.
He wanted him
What do you mean?
to die
At a certain point,
with Candy.
she realized that her plan was wrong. So, she tried to adjust things, using me as a pawn. But then, the unexpected happened. She and I both underestimated what Avery was capable of. That's why I'm here right now trying to convince you.
So, she was trying to back out of what she was doing? And she used York to stop it.
In order to save Patricia's life.
But then how does Avery connect to it?
A strange man was stalking Lise.
Mm-hmm.
And Patricia resembled Lise so much that I once confused them for a moment. Meaning it would be no surprise if the same man went after Patricia.
So Avery, these Lise and Patty.
Why didn't I think of that until now?
That's
If
why
your
he would
story is
kidnap
true,
her.
Then why did Avery Smith kidnap Patricia?
Patricia resembles Lise. I even got them confused once. And Lise reported being stalked by a 10-foot man.
That's Avery Smith?
Exactly.
But he's only 6'7" at best. His physical characteristics don't match the person you're talking about.
I once concluded the very same thing. But now I know. That was definitely Avery. He protected Lisa's body for the past 14 years.
That makes sense. He was creepy like that.
Until you discovered his sleeping beauty.
Then you took the body away from him.
So after losing Lisa's body, he kidnapped Patricia as a replacement? That's ridiculous. Is that really what you think happened?
It actually makes sense.
Even if Avery did possess that sort of mentality, it doesn't make sense. If Lise was really that important to him, he would have tried to steal her back. Not now, maybe, but certainly after she was buried.
Would you be able to go on worshipping a goddess who had been defiled by so many hands? That ice was a barrier, a shield that separated the divine from our world. That's the eerie drum that Pastor Tyrone gave to me. The pressed flower I took from the hotel bathroom is still right on top, and it hasn't even wilted.
Huh.
Maybe it really was blessed with some sort of holy power. Nah.
Or was it?